Hello again, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Vandalia By The Way. My name is Rich Hopkins. I'm the communications manager for the city. And on today's program, we've got some great back-to-school information from our crime prevention officer, Holly Estep. We'll also let you know what's happening on the economic development front with our assistant city manager, Greg Shackelford. And Public Works manager Rob Cron has all the latest on some road projects taking place in and around town. But our first stop today is right here at the beautiful Taylorsville Reserve. Now, this is a place where each month hundreds of Vandalians go to experience the great outdoors. But what if an emergency were to take place? Would you know what to do to summon help? We checked with Fire Chief Chad Follick, who's got some great advice. With the world of technology constantly changing, Vandalia's emergency services are trying to stay up with the times. One way we've done that is by buying software that allows us to pinpoint the exact location of a cell phone 911 call. Fire Chief Chad Follick says the problem is that some cell phone providers are moving much slower, meaning that their systems aren't as advanced and don't give 911 operators the information they need to help in a crisis. And where there's an information gap, it's up to the caller to fill in the blanks.
The dispatchers need some key information. In most of our cell phone situations, we'll have a location for you as soon as the 911 phone is picked up. However, there are still some cell carriers that do not have this technology available. So it's important that you understand that even if we don't get that signal from you, that you're able to tell us where you're at.
One way you can help is by taking a good look around, looking for landmarks that can help emergency crews locate you.
To understand some simple things around you that might be able to guide us to you faster. Some simple things like the walking path name or the overlook or shelter number or something of that nature.
Another drawback of a cell phone 911 call is that the cell phone number placing the call does not always automatically show up.
Some people ask for a callback number and they give them a home phone. We need the phone. We need the number for the phone that you're using, because the technology is not on every cell phone that allows our dispatchers to capture that phone number right off.
Follick said that in some cases, the fire and medic crews won't be the first to reach you in an emergency, but help will still get to you very quickly.
The nice thing about the city of Vandalia is all of our police officers are trained at a first responder level, so they'll respond within 2 to 3 minutes of a call. And then fire department resources come right after them.
One last piece of advice from the fire chief: make sure your address is visible from the road.
And when we say your address, you should have your numbers on the house. You know, a lot of times we see a lot of addresses that are in cursive writing, and they're about 3 inches tall, and they're very difficult to see from a vehicle during the day, let alone at night.
Speaking of the Division of Fire, crew members were out recently for a special training session.
Today we're out learning some skills on how to do rope rescue work. We have some equipment now that we want to be an all hazards fire department. So any kind of rescue situation that gets thrown at us, we want to be able to handle. And rope is kind of the bedrock of that rescue work. So we get this down, we can pretty much do whatever rescue comes at our way. What you're seeing today is a simulation of a worker on the water tower at Attica Drive that has fallen ill, and the guys are tasked with going up the water tower and then rope lowering them down the water tower.
These types of trainings keep the crew well informed and all of us just a little more safe. Safety also the word of the day for Vandalia's Division of Police, which is currently gearing up for the beginning of the 2011-2012 school year. Crime Prevention Officer Holly Estep says there are some things we should all try to remember as those school bells start ringing again.
Slow down when you're going through a school crossing zone. There are going to be crossing guards out. They are wearing material that you should be able to see. And watch out for children crossing the street or coming out in between cars. There's always a chance that could happen, and we don't want something tragic to happen with a kid.
Caution is also an important concept as we start sharing the road again with those big yellow school buses. Estep says one thing we have to get back in the habit of is watching for that school bus stop signal.
If you're on a 2-lane road and a school bus is approaching you and it's got its stop sign out, you must stop. The school bus drivers are trained to obtain license plate numbers, and we will issue citations for not following the stop sign signal from a school bus.
Just this month, ESEP spearheaded Vandalia's big crime prevention effort, the National Night Out Against Crime, held at the Vandalia Sports Complex. Residents got a crash course in how to take a bite out of crime.
The message is safety. It's for neighbors to get out and meet one another and join together and stand up against crime.
The day included some fun events as well, like a bicycle safety rodeo, a classic car cruise-in, and the giving away of a couple of bicycles.
We had approximately 100 people attend the event. We had safety displays. The RERT vehicle, SWAT vehicle, was out displaying their equipment.
Another big Vandalia event is being planned for September. That's when the arts community comes together to formally dedicate the 5 sculptures created during last year's Chiseled event. Vandalia City Council member Candace Farst says September the 18th is the day the city comes together for their version of an art hop.
Yes, we call it a crawl. We spend about a half hour at each sculpture. We'll have someone there dedicating it, someone will provide some music, and then we'll either get in our cars or get on a bus and then travel to the next site.
The format is pretty simple. Folks will gather at Lichtenfels Park starting a little after 12. Then at about 20 till 1, folks will load up in their vehicles and head out to see the various sculptures in their new permanent homes.
We are going to dedicate the 5 sculptures that were produced during Vandalia Chiseled, which was September of 2010. They'll be installed ahead of time, and that day we will go from each sculpture through all 5 of them and end up back at Lichtenfels Park and then have further art events and art activities at the park.
Chiseled was a 2-week-long event that ran in September of last year. 5 nationally renowned sculptors set up shop at the Vandalia Recreation Center to create their works of art.
It was absolutely a success. I think what we learned from it, though, we went into it to get some public art. It seemed to be a really great way to provide the city with some great art at a relatively low cost. And what we learned afterward was it was more the event than it was really the art.
Farr says the excitement generated from last year's Chiseled is continuing as folks look forward to seeing these pieces placed within the community.
People that came out and visited were just so amazed, I think. They learned so much. They enjoyed it so much. They followed through the 2-week period, and now they're excited to see the placement of the pieces.
Farr says she hopes the sculptures will pave the way towards a better appreciation of the arts right here in Vandalia. And it's paving of another kind taking place outside Vandalia Butler's new high school. With the new school building under construction, planners were able to fix a problem that had plagued the district for a number of years. The primary exit from the school grounds was well north of the traffic light, meaning students pulling out had to wait for their chance to zip into traffic. Public Works Manager Rob Cron says the new design fixes that.
We got together with the schools and made the new signal accommodate their entrance for safer exiting of the vehicles from the school.
Cron says the new light poles are set back a good distance from the road, and that's no accident.
We've put a new signal in to accommodate their new access point on the Dixie Drive. It's actually, we had the signal designed and built to accommodate our future 5-lane Dixie through here, so we won't have to change any of that later. We've set the poles back farther, so we'll be ready for the roadway, which is going to be coming in 2014.
Cron says improving the city's infrastructure is a priority for safety and for economic development. And on the economic development front, there's good news to report this month, as a new company is ready to make the move to Vandalia. Earlier this year, a company pulled out of the Masonite building on Ingle Road, taking its 20 employees along with it. Assistant City Manager Greg Shackelford says that left a prime building vacant.
That building's only going to be vacant for a few months. They're closing on that transaction hopefully yet this week, and it'll bring at least 50 employees right out of the gate, and hopefully another 20 to 25 in the next 2 or 3 years. So actually we're losing a company, but we're bringing in more jobs and more revenue to the city.
And from filling vacant buildings to building new ones. That's what's happening on West National Road, where Joseph Airport Toyota Scion and soon-to-be Hyundai is in the construction way. The dealership is building a new showroom for the Hyundai product line.
It looks like they have basically got all the walls up, and they're moving more into the cosmetic improvements and all the upgrades that they're doing internally. And I believe that that's probably going to be late third quarter, early fourth quarter when they get in there and get the new line started.
And right around the corner from Airport Toyota is Stone Quarry Crossings, where construction is underway on a new trucking terminal for Carter Logistics.
We've been real pleased with the progress here. We got a little bit of a late start because of all the bad weather we had in April, and finally got the ground broke in May. But as you can see, the walls are going up. Things are really progressing nicely. This project is going to bring initially over 100 jobs into the city.
When Carter Logistics is up and operating in the first quarter of next year, more than 100 people will be punching the clock at this Stone Quarry Crossings location. Add to that the 30 to 50 trucks that'll roll in and out each day, and you get the idea that we need a road to handle all of that traffic. Well, that's being taken care of right now. As you can see behind me, crews are working on the new Capstone Way. And as you can see, the project's fairly large because that road's got to be wide enough and deep enough to handle all of that traffic. That's going to do it for this edition of Vandalia By The Way. I'm Rich Hopkins. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.